Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Caesar, and this is Josue. And today we want to make a quick video on how to approach problems in your business and entrepreneurial journey. Because problems are bound to happen. It's just a part of business, and it's really the mindset that you have with problems. I'm in the cell phone repair business, so there's definitely a lot of problems with parts. You know, there's defective parts. There's like just shipping problems, customer problems, employee problems, just a bunch of problems. And also in marketing, you have a lot of problems with clients, with other people that you're collaborating with. And so having the right mindset towards problems is incredibly important. And if you have the right mindset, no matter what problems start coming your way, you become a problem solver and not a victim to your problems. So Josue, who's in the video production business, you deal with problems every day.
Yeah.
If you could share like some of the problems that you faced and how you were able to overcome them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think one thing that I'm going through right now is expanding my team. So rather than just myself filming all my projects, I'm starting to outsource to different editors and to different videographers. And so one thing that recently happened with me is having one of my team members not meet the expectations of my brand's quality, or just meet the expectations of what the client wanted, right? And so that was a really big problem for me. The client was like, hey, this isn't what we asked for. We asked for, X, Y, and Z, and you gave us something completely different. And so, for me, that was a big problem with my brand. I wanted to obviously keep the client happy. And so one thing that I found myself that I didn't do effectively was communicate properly the expectations of the project to my team member. And so, it cost me, it cost me money, and I had to compensate the client for my error. It wasn't necessarily the error of my teammate. It was my fault for not clarifying exactly the expectations of that project to them. So I think one thing to do with my business, and really a lot of businesses who are scaling, is to avoid those problems. Is to make sure that it's crucial to make sure that you set the expectations at the get-go, so that there's no confusion and there's no problems to be made down the road with your clients.
Yeah, and that's really, really big, especially if you want to be a solopreneur. Like, that's probably not a problem you're going to run into. If you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to build a team, like finding the right people, giving the right instructions to people, like making sure they understand what it is that they have to do is super important. And we made a video on his channel on learning by doing, which is like, we're learning as we do it, as we get people on our team and we feel them out, and we're just learning by doing it.
Yeah. And so Caesar's also kind of recently, you've been through some trouble recently on bringing on a team of reliable people to work on your websites, right? How's that kind of, what have you kind of learned through that process, and what does that look like for you?
Yeah. So definitely like the same thing you touched on, which was like just a lack of communication. Because a lot of times, because I understand exactly what needs to happen, sometimes I feel like, okay, I've explained it, so they should have a clear understanding, but
So you're talking about your developers, right? Like
the people that I outsource my jobs to, I have to make sure they know exactly what needs to happen, what needs to be on every single page. And if I don't make that clear, and if I don't make it clear that it's all attention to detail, then they don't realize that there is expectations to be met. And it's something that I'm learning to do, because it can be a little bit awkward when there's a balance between the way that you communicate it. It's you just have to learn to do it. But now that I've gone through a few people, whether it's in my marketing agency or my cell phone repair shop, now that I've interviewed a few people, now I just get straight to the questions, like, are you comfortable doing this? Are you okay with doing that? Like, this is part of the job. Like, is this something you can do? Like, just right off the bat, from the very first meeting, like, here's everything that you need to know. in order to be successful. And if you can't do it, or if you don't feel comfortable, then that's okay, and let's just not even work together to begin with.
Yeah.
So the point of this video is, why problems are actually opportunities in disguise. And what I mean by that is, and this is something that I'm trying to like really instill in people around me, is that if something is hard and something is difficult and it's a hard problem, whoever finds the solution to it is going to make the money. So if you want to solve small problems, you're going to make a little bit of money. If you want to solve big problems, you're going to make a lot of money, right? It's like, there's a quote, if you want to make $1 million, you should solve 1 million problems. And really, whenever you see a problem, it's actually an opportunity, because a problem will stop people from getting into that industry, into that market, because it's problematic. And average people avoid problems. Successful people approach problems and try to figure out how to do and solve those problems. What are some of the problems you're trying to solve in your life, your business?
I mean, one thing that I think both of us can relate to is really helping businesses maximize their potential online. And I think now in 2018 more than ever, online presence is so paramount to be a successful business in this era, this digital era. And I think one big problem that a lot of businesses have is they don't either know how to get started or how to take their online presence to the next level, to ultimately make more sales, get a bit bigger influence, get more people in the door. And so I think that's really the biggest problem that I'm trying to solve with my business and you're trying to solve with yours, manifested in similar ways but different.
Yeah.
And so I think there's big opportunity in that. I mean, especially right now, sure. Right now is the best time to be online, and to take advantage of the internet and social media.
Yeah. I actually have another question for you. Is like, whenever you're at a point where you have a lot of problems coming your way, like micro problems, right? Because here we're talking solving business problems. Those are micro problems. The micro problems are the problems in everyday business. Is there times in the week where you just feel overwhelmed with oh shit, like I have all these projects to do, all these people to talk to, like how do you manage just a lot of things at once? Because in your business there's a lot of moving parts. How do you like really stay focused and not get overwhelmed?
Yeah, so I think that's something that honestly I've tried to develop a system for the past like 3-4 years. I think initially when someone gets overwhelmed with all the work that they have to do, whether in business or in school or whatever, they don't know how to attack that. And what I've done is instead of just being overwhelmed all the time, I've actually started to develop systems to help keep myself organized, so that I can calmly know what I'm attacking and what I have to attack on a certain day at a certain hour. And so it's an array of things that make up that system, right? It's to-do lists, it's reminders, it's CRMs, right? So for even just reaching out to new clients, I keep all those people organized, who I emailed, at what time, when to follow up with them. Even just my day-to-day tasks, I organize them with an app on my laptop. I write everything down. I make sure that everything throughout the week is documented, and that I'm reminded, if not by someone, then my computer. So I make sure to set up those systems to get that stuff done.
Yeah, which is like, that's something that I actually need to work on more, because sometimes I just have so much going on, and sometimes I get overwhelmed. But once you write it down, you kind of understand what you have going on.
And on that page, I'll literally take 30 minutes. It's not a lot, per day, and I just stare at what I have to do that day or what I have to do the next day, right? So I think once you've internalized everything that you have to do, and have actually, are looking at it and are like, okay, I need to finish this today, I need to finish that tomorrow. I almost feel better when I know exactly what I need to do, because I think a lot of us entrepreneurs, business owners, we go throughout the day just thinking, shoot, I have a lot to do, but we don't actually know specifically what those things are until we sit down and look at them. And so that's just another strategy is just taking, like, almost meditating on what you have to do, which is kind of weird, but it works for me.
Yeah,
It makes me feel better.
Yeah. So I think the last thing I kind of want to get into a little bit is there, especially when you're not necessarily just problems, but sometimes when you're making a difficult business decision. Like, for example, last week I was gonna make the decision to move into a bigger location that costs 3 times the price. It was 3 times the size, but it was more expensive, and so it was a very big move for me to make. And so it was, in a sense, it's kind of a problem because I have to figure out the right decision. And so the way that I was trying to come to the best solution for it is I reached out to anybody that I knew that had any experience in business and entrepreneurship, mentor-like people, and I sat down with them. I explained to them, this is my situation. These are the problems that I have. This is the benefit of going this way. This is the benefit of going that way. And then they were able to give me insight on, because they have experience, they were able to give me insight on, just going through your numbers, that looks like a economically safe decision to take, and then they also would, they gave me advice on being an owner of a business, being a boss, how to handle and motivate employees. So being able to reach out to people that already experienced bad employees, or learning how to motivate employees, and they kind of explain to you and help and guide you through that is so valuable.
And I think, I feel like mentors is a big thing that a lot of young people overlook. It's obviously there's a sense of learning by doing, and I'm gonna figure it out on my own. But I think what really is undervalued is those mentors. And especially when you're facing a problem or a big decision, sure, figuring it on your own is possible. But I think that reaching out to a mentor is definitely undervalued and with a lot of entrepreneurs, and isn't something we should overlook, because they've been there and they know they know what's going on.
And that's like we're sitting here kind of talking like we're experts, but really we're not. And I'm still trying to figure out how to reach more mentors and how to have more mentors under my belt, because essentially the way I think about, I think about myself almost as a business, and as my mentors are my board of directors. And I'm trying to have a solid line of board of directors that whenever I have problems in any of my businesses, I can reach out to these very wise people and get some feedback, get a little bit here, get a little bit there. And so I'm trying to figure out, how can I get more people as my mentors? How can I get more of those quote unquote board of directors?
No, and I think that's something that I'm working on too. And like Caesar said, by no means we consultants on problems. We we're speaking through our experience. And so we hope that either you can resonate with some of the tips that we gave and kind of the stories that we went through. If you guys found this helpful, let us know. There's a lot more videos to come. And then I'll also share Josue's channel. We've made a few videos now on there on a bunch of entrepreneurship topics. And so I mean the biggest takeaway is that if you're starting a business and you're gonna hit problems early on. In fact, I'll share a quick story. When I opened the cell phone repair shop, before then I had been fixing phones for about 3 years before I opened up the shop, and I had never broken a phone. I had never broke a customer's phone, nothing. I opened up this new location. The second day, or the first day of the second week, I broke a phone.
I had never done that. I broke a phone, and I was like, man, like I made a big mistake opening this business. Like this is gonna happen so frequently, and I was like freaking out. And then eventually it was like, that's a part of doing business. Like sometimes you're gonna lose, sometimes you're gonna win. Like that's all right. And so I just want to say that if you guys come across problems, face them head on. And the more you face problems head on, you'll start seeing problems more as just a way of business, and not as a obstacle to stop you from going forward.
And I think as a boss, like problems is your job.
Yeah.
Right? Like as an employee, we don't deal with the problems, we just send it over to the boss and they take care of it. So I think one thing to be conscious of is like, hey, like if you're choosing into this as a lifestyle,
Yeah.
like get used to problems. Like it's who else is going to take care of it? Like, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like this is actually such a good video because we also made a video on like what's the worst that could happen. A lot of times we overthink these problems are like so terrible, but it's like if you really think about it, what's the worst that could happen with this problem? Like, yeah, the client might get mad, the client might be upset, like
you lose money.
Yeah, life's gonna go on, their life's gonna go on, they'll probably forget it. Like it's not too big of a deal, most of the stuff.
Yeah, and not to say that like disregard like your clients or whatever, but
of course.
we're just saying like worst case scenario, it's really not the end of the world. Life goes on and you learn from it.
Yeah.
And your business becomes better because of it.
Awesome, guys. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe to my channel. Follow Josue on Instagram at
Josue is marketing.
And I'm at Caesar_J11. So feel free to, send us a message if you guys have questions. Other than that, take care, guys.
Peace.
Peace.